Hi everyone, this is Gian, and I just got a request to make a video on poverty in East Africa. Now, East Africa is currently showing us the extent of poverty that exists in this world. But poverty exists in many parts of the world. Even in rich countries, you will find poverty. Even in first world countries, you will find poverty. But you will find most of your poverty in countries such as, or continents such as Africa, and even in Asia, such as, for example, India. Now, if we look at the rich countries in this world, we will see that they are very small actually, compared to Africa and compared to such places in Asia. If we look at populations that exist within this world, 7 billion people currently, we can see that there is obviously a fault in our design that we've set up as a human species to function as a global community. Now, poverty isn't a natural cause. It is an outflow of what we have created. Poverty doesn't naturally exist. If we look at the earth, if we look at animals, if we look at nature, nature without the human involved, without the human ever interfering with nature, feeds all its children. It gives, it provides. Now, when we come to the human species, we can see that we all live in a specific system. The system is called capitalism. Capitalism is literally to capitalize. This means you are a greedy bastard. This means you will do anything possible to make money for yourself. And within that, justify that you're creating jobs, you're creating a good product. Although 90% of all the products we see in shops are useless shit. All right? If we look at how we sell products through making humans insecure, fearful, if we look at how humans are manipulated through TV, radio, through the internet, through advertisements, magazines, we are all brainwashed and controlled to spend money on businesses that are capitalizing off of something. What are they capitalizing off? Well, let's look at what we generally use for any product we create, which is resources. And what do we know? Africa has a lot of resources. It has the most resources that you can get. Therefore, those that are on top of the food chain in a capitalistic system can simply cap those with all the resources and make them lose out, while they create great products from the resources and they sell them to the people with money. The people that actually take out the resources in their countries, the people that does the actual work, the people from where the resources come from, basically get nothing. They do not benefit from it because they are in poverty. They are required to remain in poverty to be a labor force for those who are at the top of the food chain. So capitalism in itself is already a problem. The fact that there are people in poverty and children dying of starvation, dehydration every single day in this world, and specifically in Africa, we can see the direct connections. If you look at Europe, if you look at America, if you look at any first world country, where is all the resources coming from? Where is all the resources for our tablets, our phones, our computers coming from? Most of it is coming from Africa. And what do we see in Africa? We see poverty, we see famine, we see children malnourished, we see families suffering, we see wars, we see political dispute, we see discord in all the corners of Africa. Why? Because when you have a continent that is rich in resources, that is not united, that is not standing together, that is not healthy or wealthy, then those who are healthy and wealthy has the benefit of exploiting those who have none, nothing, not even health. And that's the whole point of capitalism. We create useless products, we create useless things for people to use, and we make money off of it. And we are currently providing good services. We are providing good products. The phone I'm using right now has a product inside of it that comes from the Congo, which is the only place in the world that this resource comes from for my phone to function. And I am using this phone right now to expose the abuse that's going on while I'm participating in it. So why is there poverty in this world? Why is there extreme poverty in this world? We bring it back to ourselves. What do we do every single day? We go out into town. We use fuel, we use a car, we use our utensils at home. We, for example, go to the mall, we eat out, we buy stuff, we get gifts, we have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, we spoil them, we have Christmas, we buy stuff. But do we ever consider where the resources are coming from? Do we ever consider who's taking those resources out? How much of those resources are available? Do we ever consider the people and who is actually doing the work, such as taking out the resources of this earth? Are they benefiting? Are they living like wealthy millionaires? Or are they suffering? And this is where we can go to East Africa. This is where we can go to the whole of Africa. This is where you can see where the resources come from, where the abuse is taking place. The abuse is the people, the economic setup, the political setup. And the rich, the elite, intervene and interfere with these countries extensively. They make deals with these countries to help them out of poverty. But it always backlashes. Why? Because if an African country has to somehow get out of poverty, then they will take charge of their own resources. They will take charge of their own available land and what they have. And therefore the elite will not have a cheap way of getting these resources, because the country will be empowered to take care of themselves. But this is not acceptable, because capitalism requires resources from the earth to create its useless products and services that is always made to not last, break, be cheap, because we want stuff cheap or for free, right? But it must still be good quality. Like our phones, they only last 2 years. New cars have warranties of 5 years, which is ridiculous. Your fridge will last 5 years. To fix it is the same price as buying a new one. So you can see how capitalism is abusing the physical reality, the resources. And people like West Africa is suffering on it. And now you're looking at a generational point of suffering. The children that is born in poverty and raised in poverty, their children will be born in poverty and raised in poverty. What does this mean? This means that they will have a lack of education. They will lack of basic skills. They will have a lack of understanding the system that is ruling and governing their life, which is capitalism. Capitalism is a system that was imposed upon countries and lands, and it was forced onto them. For example, in Africa, in Asia, in a lot of countries before capitalism existed in those countries, people were self-sustained. They used to live and farm their own food. They used to educate their children how to take care of the land, how to take care of their own food and water. Then educated people would come from the cities and tell them, hey, you need to send your children to school, and a good school that is, so that they can make money and provide you with food and stuff. Now, however they sold that idea to the children and to the parents must have been insane. You must have been a very good salesman, because they were healthy, they had food, water, housing, they had everything for free basically. But here capitalism came and said, you need a good education. We're going to send you to America or to London, and we're going to educate you in a proper way where you can read and write. And the parents agreed because they want the best for their children. What happens is these children go to school, and then they come back home and they realize that there's no work, because the country they live in has no work available for them. This means they now lost 12 years of their life educating themselves on how to grow food, how to take care of the land, how to take care of their house, how to take care of water, and therefore you now start developing poverty, because capitalism intervened. Capitalism promised money, good jobs, and a future. Yet capitalism only has a certain amount of jobs available. Otherwise, there is no jobs. And without a job, what do we know? In this world, without a job, you don't have money. Now, we currently have 7 billion people. There isn't ever in this world 7 billion jobs available. Why do we need 7 billion jobs? So our system is designed to fail. And therefore, those that are currently used in the countries where the resources are is being abused to an extent where they cannot even live on the land anymore. Never mind talking about agricultural influences where big countries come in, they use the African land or the Asian land for a lot of, and the Brazilian and Amazonian lands, and they put massive plantations on for food production, which means they're destroying the forests, they're destroying the rivers, they're destroying the environments. So therefore the people that's now in poverty are not just in poverty, but the environment is now being impoverished. This means they cannot even now sustain themselves with the environment anymore, because it is now become desert. It is desertification. So therefore your land is now also starting to become useless because of capitalism coming in, planting thousands of hectares of corn or soybeans, or putting beef on the land, and they destroy the land. So not only is the people now impoverished, but their land itself is impoverished to such an extent that even without their money, they cannot even make themselves sustainable from the land. It's very, very difficult. You need money now to make land sustainable again. So the problem we're facing on a global level is exposed in, for example, West Africa, to show us the extent of how capitalism is abusing. Remember, for some to have a lot, many must have nothing. That's how this system works. If someone has billions of dollars, somewhere that money is coming from. Somewhere resources, somewhere products is making that money. And that means somewhere someone else is suffering, because that money is not being shared. It is not being given to the people back. It is being kept in someone's bank account, doing with it what they want. Driving yachts, having billionaire houses, and living a good life, while billions suffer somewhere else in the world. So that is what I can give currently an answer on, for my common sense and self-honesty on the topic of poverty in West Africa. And I put in comment Africa because it's just all of Africa really. And also capitalism, how we have to start rethinking capitalism and stop justifying what we buy and how we spend our money as being good services and good stuff, because somewhere else someone made those resources available. And if those people are not benefiting, if those people are not living the same way you are, you know poverty is caused by all of us participating in this system every single day, accepting and allowing it the way it exists now. We need to look at a system that is about equality, where we give as we would like to receive, where we do unto another as we would like to be done unto. That's common sense. That's how heaven on earth is created. And a system has to reflect that on a global scale, to know that we are all living a life worth living, that's dignified, and that can support every human being to reach their utmost potential. How will we do this? We need to start voting with our money. Where do we spend our money? What do we do with our money? What are we supporting with our money? And that is our voting power every single day. So we want to get Africa out of poverty. We need to stop buying stuff where we know the resources are abusing Africa. We need to stop supporting corporations that is abusing Africa. We need to start voting with our money and saying, I will not buy your product unless I see not one child in this world suffering under your product or your brand. I will not buy these products and participate in these products unless I see, for example, no poverty, no famine, no abuse of the land and the environment. This is a way that we can do a stand right now, every single day. And that is how we dedicate ourselves to changing this world. Thank you very much for watching. This is Gyan. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave comments if you have anything to say. Take care. Bye-bye.